Welcome back. I've uploaded the study. It's on the database. I've been doing a few of these, so I'm going to share my screen so you can see the process. So share screen. Good. All right. You can see here that I scan myself time to time. This is the Vasolab portal, and this is kind of the back end, and all of these are me, so I don't want to share any information. I don't have to. The AI measures the intima lining right when it uploads on all the images that are notated to be measured. It's pretty good measurements. I'm going to measure it on a scale of 1 to 100. And so I'll just move the decimal place a little bit. But over time, I went from 50 to 50.3 to 54.5, 51, 52, 49. Pretty consistent on the IMT. My personal score, CVAT, the measurement 46, 47, 50, 48, 50. Not bad. And then measuring it on the ultrasound box itself, the bonsai, we call it 53, 56. So we're going to measure this most recent version of me. The velocities that I took on the box I've already uploaded. The AI has already measured at 0.405. I measured it manually, 0.567. Let's launch in. Now, this tool that we're about to look at is the training tool for the AI. Everything that I click in here, everything that I measure is remembered for the growth and improvement of the situation for the product. Our goal is to make this a real-time tool for all medical providers who have ultrasound. The chip that's coming out is super exciting. There's a chip from MIT where we'll be able to leave it on your body and get data all day on your arteries. So I'm going to draw around this. This is a top-down view of that plaque on my right internal right bulb, right where the blood flow is the most turbulent. And on me, that causes a little bit of inflammation. Let's measure this down, hit finalize, and then move this dot down a little bit. You move you up, and then let's measure that plaque thickness. After I measure this, there's a QC process where we have somebody else go through it, validate all the clicking, and we release it out to the patients. Now, people are asking, what can I do for my artery once I find out my inflammation is thick? How do I reduce that? That is part of a heart attack and stroke prevention program. But I'll tell you what they'll likely do is they're going to talk to you about the big red flags: diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol. Blood pressure is the most predictive. Diabetes is a huge umbrella where you should be concerned about insulin resistance, your A1C. All of those metrics come into play, and they come into play differently. So the IMT, the thing I'm measuring just right now, is a measure of inflammation. Anything that's chronically assaulting your arteries will cause them to get thicker, this particular layer, to increase in thickness, and your body has to pump hard. Your heart has to work harder to push blood through all these inflexible arteries. Measure that whole thing as plaque thickness. What a mistake. Intima media shape. So how do you find someone to help you coach through a heart attack and stroke prevention program? And you want to find the best for sure. I'll tell you about my story. I learned how to use an ultrasound machine early in my career, and it's a new sense. I can see inside the body. It's like a miracle. It's a superpower. Anyways, I found out how to deliver this test to doctors and clinics, and my best customers happen to be doctors who prevented heart attack and stroke. In their clinic, they would have a heart attack and stroke prevention program. They would manage their patients, and my test became a huge part of it, an older version of it. As the ultrasound software and equipment got better, I made my service better. And when the pandemic hit, I had to upgrade everything. And so I spent a lot of time and resources playing with the boxes, the ultrasound machines, um, talking to reps, finding out what software was out there. This is some inflammation in my artery. It's in the right or left bulb. You can see the outside. Let's take a look at the inside. I've got some inflammation building in the walls right up here. Very clear. That should be super thin and like it's drawn with a mechanical pencil. I'm going to measure the plaque thickness. This is just a tool, so you know it's there. And that's a heterogeneous plaque. Nice. Gonna go around the artery wall here. Show it's open. The reason I do this is to train the computers to see the artery. Putting this on a probe so that it would assist you in real time is my goal. Everybody should have access to these tools. All right, let's do intima. Boom. Next, forward. A lot of research papers on doing this consistently. You want to control for lighting, make sure no one's hungry. The way we solve some of those problems is having more than one person do what I'm doing right here, measure the intima. Come on, buddy. Yeah, intima. This one I don't love, so I'm going to mark it bad quality. Oh, I tag it at the bottom, tag bad quality. This took a long time to figure out. Intima media, shape. Plaque is the next, is also on the list. I don't know if it's next, but saving all this so that it's a tool for a doctor to share with a patient. That's the goal. All right, we're going to finish the job. We're going to save it. Go back to the database and hit update measure. So the measurements I did on the left came in at 0.441. On the right, exactly 0.441. That doesn't happen very often. 1.3 millimeter on my plaque, 1.2 on my right. Velocities are there. And I measured the blockage. And on the report, it'll usually say less than 20%. So let's take a look at my report and we can go through it together. The lining, 0.498, 0.5 millimeters. My vascular age is 27. How I calculate that is we go to the ERIC study, the atherosclerosis risk in communities. This is a 10-year, 10,000 person study. And this is where we get our reference data values. So how do I tell you that you have the arteries of a 50-year-old? Right here. I compare this number to that database, and I pull out a 27-year-old vascular age for myself. Now, largest plaque. Let's take a look at my plaque. I got an image of it, and I embedded it right in the report. And here we can zoom in. Right on the near wall, this inflammation is 1.3 millimeters is what I measured. So what does that compare to? the intima media is 0.571 millimeters. So the average thickness of the walls is 0.571. And this little spot here on the bifurcation up at near wall is 1.3 millimeters. So it's twice as thick as the average of that. And it resides in the intima media layer. So a plaque kind of bursts out like a blister from the damage caused by bad diet, diabetes, garbage, cholesterol, mouth bacteria. I mean, there's a million reasons why this is it. So finding out what your biggest potential cause is, working on that, and then moving down to your next biggest potential cause. So that's how you measure a report. We will email this to you. Let's review this a little bit more. The graph here is percentile. And that again is calculated off of this number, the thickness of the arterial wall, the intima media. So I'm in the 5th percentile. I got thin arteries, but I do have a plaque. So am I safe? Well, my inflammation's low. That's good. But I have damage, sustained damage in my artery wall. That's not normal. If it was dark, like the blood, if there were pockets inside of it that were soft goo, that would be dangerous, and I would be very concerned. This is probably the situation where statin drugs were invented: Lipitor, Crestor, rosuvastatin. These drugs have been sold to manage cholesterol, but that's not what the research says. The research says that these do save lives in big populations if you give it to people. The research does say that it will calcify a plaque over time. So here's an example of a plaque getting calcified. This is from a rosuvastatin study. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm a dummy. Share screen. This image is from a study back in 2008 where they tracked a statin. I don't love statins. I don't think everybody should have them, but they do have a place. You can see that on the top left is the beginning of when we started tracking this plaque. And you can see these pockets, these dark pockets of liquid, gooey substance. Now, you know the blood is black in the ultrasound, and so these black pockets are also liquid. And you can see that over time, these pockets are filling up. The body will put these vessels in called vasovasorum blood vessels. And that's how the body feeds and finds a way to get nutrition into these blood vessels to heal them. The newest ultrasound machines are getting good enough to see these, but they're not quite there yet. Really great research coming out on the vasovasorum and how it affects the artery. So back to the report. The percentile is 5th. My inflammation is low, but I do have plaque that I need to watch and track. I am developing better plaque tracking tools for my clients, physicians, patients, but that'll be a few more months. IMT history. My report should stack up. So every time I see one in parallel, I should see my age at the exam, my vascular age, the thickness. And when I graph it, hopefully my inflammation is coming down over time. Nobody wants higher inflammation. Somewhere around 0.75, 78, events start occurring in the general population. So you want to be careful to keep your inflammation out of that range. But plaque has a different matrix of risk. On the bottom here, I do list all the details: the plaque, the size, the location, the velocities. Blood velocity, you don't want it being above 150. That's when events start showing up. And the reason for that is that when there's a blockage, the heart has to pump harder. And that blood, like putting your finger on a garden hose, it goes a lot faster, further because of the pressure. Making sure your blood velocities aren't too high is a tool for me to make sure I didn't miss a soft plaque that would cause a lot of blockage. So this is the Vasolab's report. We're delivering it to physicians and offices around the country. Please check Vasolab's website to see when we're scanning near you. You can sign up online. Godspeed. Cardiovascular disease is a serious problem in America. A lot of it's our diet. We don't exercise enough. We know we're not healthy. We're not thinking as clear as we should. And we need a reason to come together. And health is a great reason. We can work together, exercise together, and be a community. So please look for an invite to join the Vasolabs community, where I'll be talking with the best scientists, the best researchers I can find to add to this test, to this offering. Heart disease kills half of America. This tool should help us see it, identify it, and with good medication and therapy, you should be able to avoid a heart attack altogether. Godspeed, everybody. God bless. Good night.